Yob is a term in the UK usually used to describe someone unkempt and uncultured, mostly aimed at hippies, for we do have those in the land of usually inconsistent sun. Today's band aren't even from the UK, so I don't know why they picked Yob as a name. Yob formed in Eugene, Oregon in 1996, and have always been a three-man band, even though only one of them has been with them since the beginning, and even after a split in 2006 before they reformed in 2008. That's not the only weird thing, along with my hair, as the band are known for putting out albums with few tracks that they stretch out almost hour-long periods, so that'll make things more fun for me. Woo. And it's my job to tell you what we have to slog through and if it's worth the time spent or the time wasted. Also, I would like to thank my friend Sai on Discord for requesting this band like a couple of years ago, so I'm finally getting around to it. Now, let's face the music. We start with the band's debut album, Elaborations of Carbon. Released in 2002, it came out via 12th Records, and I couldn't find anything about producer for this one, so let's go ahead and say that it was self-produced. Now, onto the background. Before Yob even existed, a man named Mike Scheidt, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, was in several other bands such as Cam Kill and Dirty Sanchez, wherein he played bass. After he was done with those bands, he formed Yob in 1996 and switched from bass to guitar and lead vocals, later recruiting new bassist Lowell Isles and drummer Greg Ocon. During this time as a band, they had released a self-titled demo in 2000 through a website called Stoner Rock, but not long after Lowell and Greg would leave the band to replace bassist Samo Sato and Gabe Morley on bass and drums respectively. Isamu was in a band called HT Minds at one point, which Mike was also in, and Gabe was in the band Swinger Trap and Lightweight before taking over as the new drummer for Yob. I get the weird feeling that even not knowing the band's past or their influences, they definitely still would be the same band today. They draw a lot of comparisons to Tool, but heavier and with more screaming, and also releasing albums on a more regular schedule. Another comparison is the complex song arrangements, and considering that I'd only listened to Yob's most recent album before writing for this episode, that's another easy sort of thing to see, but at least Tool knows how to put the longer songs near the end of an album, usually. Yob's Elaborations of Carbon has 6 songs, and 4 of those songs reach 10 minutes, with 2 of those reaching past 15 minutes. 2 of this album's songs, those being Revolution and closing song Asleep in Samsara, literally make up just under half the album's overall running length, and this is their debut. Believe me, there is plenty more piss-taking to go through. I normally like a longer album, but I like longer albums that don't drown, and considering Yob's doom, sludge, stoner genre, there is a lot of drowning. The structure is slow on purpose, and it does have heavy moans, but the pacing really offsets me a little bit. It's sort of getting used to something, and the lyrics cover, I think, addiction, depression, and anger, and the band aren't all that bad either. Mike's vocals do have good range, and his written style is gritty and crunchy, Osamu's bass is thick as hell with great tone to it, and Gabe's drumming is heavy, meaty, and full of range. Standout songs include All the Children Forgotten, Revolution, and my favourite, and Pain of I. While it does drag its feet, the album does establish its tone and the tone and style of Yob pretty early on, and the tight production, performances, and lyrics outweigh the lengthy runtime, so I can recommend this one ultimately. We then reached the band's second album, Catharsis. Released in 2003, it would come out through Abstract Records. It was produced by Mike Scheidt, and it's the band's shortest album at 49 minutes and 4 seconds. Just remember that fact for later in this video. Now, background. After Elaborations of Carbon became as successful as it did, the band was soon found by label Abstract Sounds, which is maybe why this album didn't take that long to come out. Another reason could be the fact that this 49-minute album, remember that, only has 3 fucking songs on it, and the shortest song titled Ether is over 7 minutes in length. The intro song Aeons is 18 minutes long, and I swear that the first 5 minutes are just the band setting up their instruments before the instruments actually kick in and we get some vocals, and no, I'm not even making that up. Honestly, all of that energy could have gone into maybe a minute-long skit of the band setting up, then a 4-minute instrumental track to get us started, as separate songs. I would have been fine with that, but no, they decided to get that an 18-minute-long intro song containing both of those elements was the best thing for it. I don't know whose fault it was, and maybe it was Mike, but I mostly did the mixing. There is someone named Ed Archer who has an uncredited contribution, but until I find another source, I'm blaming him. Also, a small side note, this would be the band's last album with drummer Gabe Morley, but since for the most part there's so damn little to talk about with this band's background or even the recording processes, I'm going to rant about this as much as I damn bloody well please, sir. See, albums like this are why I don't cover EPs for the series, because I usually have little to talk about with those anyway. At least Wolves at the Gate had the decency to make full albums with more than 3 blooming songs, and their background isn't nearly as extensive as Yob's is. Ranting aside though, yeah, the album's alright. The production has improved, which I like, and it helps the structure to pick up some speed, and lyrics cover politics, religion, and anger, so the usual dark subjects for Yob, and the band are pretty good as well. Mike's vocals still sound good, and his written style is great too. Simon's bass is more toned and pronounced, and Gabe's drumming is spaced out, timed well, and heavy. Standout song includes Ether for not pacing about as much as the rest of the album does. It's still a slog, but a well-produced, well-written, and well-performed slog, and despite my ranting, I can still recommend Catharsis. I need to sort out my bloody hair. We then reach the band's third album, Illusion of Motion. Released in 2004, this would be released through Metal Blade, and it was produced by Mike Scheidt, Billy Barnett, and Jeff Olson. Now, background. So there would be a few changes for this one, once again. The first of those is obviously the switch from Abstract Sounds to Metal Blade. Another change would be a new band member and new drummer Travis Foster after Gabe Morley left after the release of Catharsis. One thing that I appreciate about this album is that the band decided to bump the number of songs up from last time, going from 3 songs to a whopping 4, running over the course of 56.5 minutes. This album also contains Yob's longest song with the closing title track, which clocks in at 26 minutes and 10 seconds. I feel like that's part of the reason why this album's came out in consecutive years, because the band didn't take breaks to stop playing and just left what they felt like on the album itself. But at least a few more of the kinks are worked out here, so It's not nearly as meandering as their first 2 albums, and where there could have been dead space, they actually fill it with really nice guitar interludes. I guess that you can't put out 3 albums in a row without learning from previous mistakes. Another thing I like is breaking from the Tool mold, chasing their own more unique sound while still having the complex song arrangements. It's a very deft balance, and I'll be honest, as someone who'd only listened to Our Raw Heart before starting over again for this episode, I never would have pegged Yob to be capable of this kind of thing this early in their career. Especially during their first run, so yeah, well done. Maybe part of that is the switch to Metal Blade, which is probably the best label for Yob's particular style of metal, and it works well here. I like the structure, how it doesn't slug as much as slug, and I love the restraint shown, proving how the band have matured, and the lyrics cover the usual fare of religion, social unrest, and political gain, all with their signature sluggish dark tone, and the band themselves are pretty good at handling that tone. Mike's vocals continue to improve, which is guitar work that really comes through, and I think this is his best album for that, personally, with thicker riffs and 6 solos. Simon's bass work is gritty, toned well, and has depth, and Travis does a great job as the new drummer, hitting hard and driven well with his kits. Standout song is maybe Exorcism of the Hosts overall on the album. I actually quite like that one. The Illusion of Motion does less dragging with good structure, pacing, and production to boot, so I can recommend this one. And finally, for part 1, we reach the band's 4th album, The Unreal Never Lived. Released in 2005, it would be the band's last from Metal Blade, and it was produced again by Mike Scheidt and Billy Barnett. Now, background. So this would be the band's last album before their initial breakup, with the announcement coming in January 2006 that they would be splitting. Sometime between that announcement and this album's release, Travis and Osamu were in their own solo project bands, and after they got properly broke up, Mike formed a new band called Midian with 2 dudes named Will Lindsay and Scott Hedrick. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Hedrick, I don't know. Midian lasted about as long as Yob's breakup, which was about 3 years, and they put out one album titled Age Eternal. So there you go. Part of the reason for the breakup of Midian was due to a cease and desist letter, then a huge lawsuit, and all the pressure from all that basically caused Midian to fall apart. See, Midian have only 1 album, but they have a good reason to have broken up, so what was Yob's reason? The fact that they put out 4 albums in as many years? That's close to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard levels of piss-taking, not helped by the fact that the difference between the releases of The Illusion of Motion and The Unreal Never Lived was only 10 months, not even a full year. Going back to this album, though, it's their second shortest, but the shortest song on the album itself, titled Grasping Air, is just over 9 minutes long, so it's the longest short song that Yob have put on one of their albums, if that makes any sense. This album is also one of Yob's few without a title track, but the album's title is set in the opening song, Quantum Mystic, so there's that. Having said that, though, this is one of the band's more flowy albums. The songs glide into each other more effortlessly, and it seems to carry some sort of concepts. I just wish that I could figure it out for the life of me. Heck, it's a good note to go out on for their first run. It combines the more intense, droning stuff of their debut with the better production of their latter 2 albums, and that adds to a good and steady structure. And the lyrics cover the usual stuff, religion, death, pain, but it's all combined into nice, neat little stories, and the bands sound pretty good here as well, for a band that would be on the edge for a little bit. Mike's vocals are still good, and his guitar work continues to improve. Sato's bass is driven deeply with a thick tone to it, and Travis has really heavy drumming going hard, providing some good backbone. Then song is maybe Quantum Mystic for me. The album drags a little bit, but the mix of an old sound and new production, not to mention the work ethic put in, definitely on this album's credit, so yeah, I can recommend this one. And that will do it for part 1, and I will see you soon for part 2, where we'll cover the next 4 albums, but I do have a couple of things I want to say first. So I want to apologise for not covering any Fight of the Nights in a while, because I shouldn't apologise, because there hasn't been a Fight of the Night in 3 cards in a row, and there's a UFC card tonight. If there's no another fight, if there's no another fight of the night tonight, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. But yeah, I might as well just like post a Yob Part 2 tomorrow if I can get that done. But the main thing is tonight I'm going to be streaming PBW's War of Attrition, basically my company's version of Survivor Series in a way, and it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to how that turns out. So yeah, I'll see you for that, and I'm definitely, probably, maybe, I don't know, going to put a new vocal cover up this week. I'll say what the song is though that I want to cover next. Dead and Gone by State Champs. I think that's the next song I'm going to try and sing, so I'll see you for whenever that is. I'll see you for whatever the next video is. Might be tomorrow, might be the day after. Could be both, I don't know. Anyway, I'll actually turn this off now, so I'll see you for part 2 of this, and so close to the finale now. Thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.